Pa sopra il petto, io di amarti non la smetto, sei la squadra del mio cuore. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Roma Theory. It's been a while since we spoke about transfer news. This, today, is a perfect day to speak about it. Because we're coming towards the end of it. It's not been a massive January transfer window as expected. I don't think anybody here expected Pinto, Roma in general, to sign more than one player, especially seeing that not many players actually left. And if there's one thing that we've learned about the settlement agreement and the FFP sanctions, is that the more players we can buy is linked to the more players that we can sell. And we haven't sold many players in this January window. We didn't even manage to end Renato Sanchez's loan. Maybe it could get unlocked in the last hours, days of the transfer window, weeks, I say, exactly 1 week. Otherwise, Renato Sanchez will have to stay here until the end of the season. But look, new manager, it means new transfer tactics. The attention towards the transfer window and the priorities have without a doubt changed, seeing that we transitioned from Mourinho to De Rossi. You know, it means that the priorities change. If under Mourinho the priorities were a centre back and maybe new wing backs, full backs, whatever you want to call them, now with De Rossi the priority is, of course, it obviously remains to reinforce every section as possible. But I think De Rossi would much rather get wingers, because De Rossi has shown us in that game against Verona that he's gonna adopt a new formation, and this formation will consist, and we'll see wingers in this formation. No matter if it's a 4-2-3-1, which De Rossi would like to implement in the long term, no matter if it will be a 4-3-3, De Rossi is moving towards a winger formation. I love it because you know me, I've been saying this for quite a long while. I love wing formations. I love playing with wingers. I think nowadays in football, of course you need good wingers, but wingers are a massive part of football, you know, especially with the way Roma's built, in a sense that not that we have many wingers currently, but the fact that our striker gets zero or little support, and he only gets support when Dybala's fit, and Dybala's barely ever fit. Wingers is also adding layers to adding support to our striker, Lukaku. So I would love to start playing with wingers. Again, I'm not expecting us to start playing with a 4-3-3 on Saturday, on Monday, wherever we're playing, because I think we're missing some elements. Yes, okay, we can play Zalewski and El Shaarawy up front. And by the way, I said this in the match reaction, El Shaarawy as a winger is one hell of a good player. El Shaarawy needs to play as a winger. And if he continues to play like he played in that Verona game, El Shaarawy is a starter for me. And, you know, again, I might be not emotional here, but, you know, I've grown with El Shaarawy playing as a winger, and El Shaarawy growing up was one of my best and most favorite players. I'm not saying it's the same, but that's his position, and we've clearly seen that he's got the technique, he's got the weapons to hurt defenses playing there. So if El Shaarawy keeps this consistency, it is not even a doubt for me that El Shaarawy should start. Zalewski, apparently, De Rossi, and a lot of us here, I've never considered Zalewski a fullback. You know, De Rossi has said this very clear. Zalewski is not a fullback. He got subbed in the Verona game and he played in attack. De Rossi doesn't consider Zalewski a fullback. And Zalewski needs to play up top. And I think playing Zalewski up top, I've said this many times, that you could rejuvenate his career. You know, Zalewski's reached that stage where he either finally breakthroughs or provides his breakthrough season, or it's not going to be a successful career. He's reached that stage where he's not a kid anymore. Okay, yeah, he is a kid. He's very young, but he's not that kid that Mourinho put in the formation against Bodo Glimt when we won 4-0. he's grown and he's been playing as not a starting but a fundamental piece of this team, a player of the first team for 3 years now. He either provides and does the breakthrough season now, official final breakthrough season now, or it's not going to be a successful career. That's how it works. Pressure is massive. So in order for Zalewski to actually test his breakthrough season, he needs to start up front. And De Rossi has understood this. But again, moving to transfer news. I don't want to waste your time. This is a transfer news live stream. So the transfer news, as reported by yesterday evening by Gianluca Di Marzio, is that Roma and Fiorentina are working together to try and unlock a potential loan swap deal between Belotti and Jonathan Ikoné. Let me repeat this again, a loan swap deal. So even if this gets completed at the end of the season, Ikoné goes back to Fiorentina and Belotti comes back to Roma. I have to be honest with you. Looking at this and zooming out of this and looking at this from a perspective of like actually who gains from this, I have to be honest with you, I don't think nobody particularly gains from this. In a sense that, to me, this swap loan deal is like, I'm not a massive fan of Pokemons, and I don't know their names. But you know how Pokemon cards have rankings? It's like you wake up a day and you've got the weakest Pokemon card. I don't know, let's call him Bulbasaurus. And your friend wakes up with the second weakest Pokemon card in the deck, called Trigonosaurus. And you swap the two. Nobody really gains from this. It's just a useless swap deal. If you look at the player, if you look at the players themselves and you look at the form that they're in, the minutes that they're playing, again, I don't think Roma particularly will gain from this, and I don't think Fiorentina will particularly gain from this. I think this is clearly a loan move because Fiorentina need a striker and don't want to spend money, and Roma want a winger and don't want to spend money. So both are agreeing on, right, let's do this shitty loan swap deal so that we can I get Belotti for the next 5 months and you get Ikoné for the next 5 months. And if everything goes to plan, then at the end of the season we might reconsider making this from a loan swap deal to a permanent swap deal. If not, the players get back to their own respective teams. Again, I look at Ikoné, and I look what Ikoné is doing, and Ikoné isn't having incredible stats. He hasn't scored many goals this season. He's missing a lot of chances. But the characteristics of a player like Ikoné would come very handy to us. And for a team who wants to adopt and start playing with wingers, the characteristics of a player like Ikoné would be fantastic. We need and we lack somebody who's got speed, who can run. Yes, he's not amazing with actually scoring and shooting, but De Rossi could always tell him, you do what you do, and then instead of shooting, just pass it into Lukaku. Ikoné is that player who's never fit and is never on form, but when he hits that day of form, he's, nobody stops him. Nobody stops him. It gives me Gervinho vibes. Gervinho was my idol growing up, so I'm not even in a position to compare the two. But in terms of characteristics, it would be a Gervinho type signing. It would come handy if we want to actually start playing with wingers. Belotti, on the other hand, again, I like him. He fights. He gives his, he gets his best. He gives his best in every single Roma game, no matter if he plays a full game, no matter if he plays 10 minutes, half an hour, no matter if it's a Serie A game against Lazio or a Europa League game against Servette. Belotti is one of those few players which always gives his best in every single game. But the reality is that Belotti has fallen down in hierarchies. Belotti, now that we have a striker like Lukaku, who you just can't move from this team, And now that we have a super sub like Azmoun, who, by the majority of the times he got subbed in, he changed games. If it's a goal or an assist or a classy move, Azmoun changes games. Can Belotti change games? He hasn't played much, so we're not in a position to do this judgment. But there's a reason why Azmoun climbed up hierarchies instead of Belotti. There's a reason why Sardar Azmoun is now more likely to get subbed in than Belotti, because it's more likely for him to change games. When I look at Belotti, I ask myself, what does he give to this team? Not because he's terrible. That's not what I'm saying, but because he doesn't play much. You know, it's like keeping rotten cheese in your fridge. Eat it, or you have to throw it out. We barely use Belotti nowadays. We barely ever use that guy. For the past 3 months, Belotti has probably played 20 minutes, and I'm not even exaggerating. Azmoun is clearly now Mourinho and De Rossi's second pick. And De Rossi himself today, after the Seville linking Azmoun to a potential move to Seville, De Rossi himself has said, no, Azmoun needs to stay because I rate Azmoun a lot. Mourinho put Azmoun ahead of Belotti. De Rossi apparently is putting Azmoun over Belotti. Adding on to that, you've got Lukaku as a first striker who has played every single game, is never injured, and you just can't get him out of this team. I think if it's a long swap deal, 5 months, try this. Because IKONE's characteristics could come very handy to us. They could come very, very, very handy to us. My advice on this is try this. At the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, it's a long swap deal. There's no money in this. We wouldn't need to pay IKONE. We wouldn't get much money from Belotti. It's just a simple long swap deal. Try it. Because again, I'm the first one to say that in these moments of difficulties, in these moments where we have difficulties in winning big games or grabbing points in big games, we need to come up with solutions. And solutions nowadays, we can't spend money in the transfer window. So it's not like we wake up one day, spend 30 million and get a player we want. We need to be creative. We need to try a new strategy. So yeah. In my opinion, it's a yes. I'm not a massively enthusiastic person, if you ask me about this. But again, I just think nobody really gains from this loan swap deal. It's just a classic. It's an equal move, I think, because Belotti isn't really working for us, but could come handy to Fiorentina, and IKONE isn't really working for them, and could come handy for us. Sardar is injured. I read that Sardar was injured, but apparently it's nothing because he bagged an assist today against the Emirates, against the Arab United Emirates in the Asian Cup. So apparently Azmoun isn't injured anymore. It feels like Fiorentina gains more quality in this deal. I don't know. I think it's an equal move. I don't really. Plus, would Belotti start at Fiorentina? I don't think he would. I think he'd be second striker. You know, Beltran is grabbing fitness. You know, he's grabbing consistency. He's scoring goals. I think Fiorentina, even if they get Belotti, they'd play with Beltran as first striker, and then Belotti is second, and Zola they want to clear out because it's not working out. But yeah, my final judgment here would be try this, because I think we need a winger. I think, especially if that's what De Rossi wants to move to. We need somebody who's fast, who can dribble, who is extremely fast, and defenders can't catch. He's terrible. You know, I'll admit this. He's terrible at scoring and shooting. He's got triangular feet. But again, we just need a brave manager to tell him, don't you dare shoot, pass the ball in the box. And I'll tell you one thing. If we get a winger who's fast, nobody stops him, and starts crossing the ball in, that's what Lukaku needs right now to even double the amount of goals that he's scoring. You know, Lukaku is scoring these goals with zero service behind him. If we can get wingers, El Shaarawy on one side, somebody like IKONE, who's hard to stop when he runs. It would give me Gervinho vibes. Again, don't compare the two because it would give me an emotional crisis. Gervinho was my idol growing up, so I would love to see a Gervinho type of player again. But yeah. And then the other transfer news is Bakker from Atalanta. This is a massive no from me. This is a massive no from me. And I'll explain why. We need wingers. No doubt about that. But if I need to get somebody who has been kicked out by Bayer Leverkusen, and I'll tell you why in a second, who has played 233 minutes at Atalanta, there's a reason behind this. It means that this guy doesn't care. It's simple. This guy doesn't care, and he would come here and not give a shit. And we have so many of these type of players who don't care. We just need to avoid getting and adding more of them to our team. Yes, he's a wing back. Yes, he can put crosses. But ultimately, if I gotta spend money for a player who has been kicked out by Bayer Leverkusen because he came late at training sessions for multiple times, if I need to spend money for a player who Gasperini was very enthusiastic about this summer, but then ended up playing 233 minutes, there's a reason. There's a reason behind this. And I don't want us to be, the clowns of the situation and get all of these rotten players who get kicked out of every team just because we need a wing back. No. I'd rather keep Spinazzola, who can't put a cross in, if I need to spend money on somebody even more useless than him. We need to start. I know we don't have money, but we need to start thinking wisely and not just spending money on the first opportunity that we get to reinforce the team. That's wrong. This is why I just can't wait until Pinto leaves, because realistically speaking, he's about to leave in a week. Why would he care? Why would Thiago Pinto care? Another weakness of this ownership is nobody ever speaks. The only person that speaks nowadays is Thiago Pinto, who in about 8 days will not even be linked with Roma anymore. What would Thiago Pinto even say in front of these microphones? Why would Pinto even care? Just send Pinto out and hurry up getting the new general director. Because what I care is long-term signings. What I care is, what can my new general director, do this summer? Or will he just copy what Pinto has been doing in these seasons? Will we add layers and quality to our scouting department? Will we do that? I'm reading a lot of different names being linked with us and our new general director. But when will it happen? When will he be announced? Who will it be? Will he have a good scouting department behind him? Because I am fed up of signing these players. I am fed up to be a dustbin. Very honest here. I've had enough of being the dustbin of every transfer window. I've had enough of buying players who can't stand up, that they're injured. I've had enough of buying players who don't care. It's time for me to now do the work what other clubs do week in and week out. It's now time for me to evolve from being a dustbin and maybe be a recycling bin. Adding layers to it, adding evolutions to it. And then from a recycling bin, we could go up to a dustbin truck that moves around. I just don't want to be a dustbin. Or even worst case scenarios, I just don't want to be a toilet. Okay? I don't want to be a toilet anymore. I don't want to be the team that everybody just drops the shit into. Because it is not working out. It hasn't been working out. And we need something new. We need a new scouting department. We need new ideas. So no, Bakker is a no for me. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to, sorry if the phone is vibrating at the back. Somebody's calling me, so I'm going to end the stream and answer the call. If you haven't already, please do hit the like, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on both the IKONE deal and the Bakker deal. Simo, what do you think of IKONE, and are you pro or against the potential swap? I would do it, yes. I would do it if it's a loan swap deal. I would do it. Is Spinazzola injured? Apparently he is. He'll miss the Al Shabaab friendly game and the Salernitana game. For the love of God, can you stop calling me? I hate when people... When I don't answer a call, stop... Okay, there we go. Don't need IKONE guy from Fiorentina, rather Biraghi for Belotti. I'd love that too, mate. But unfortunately, Fiorentina have said no. IKONE's stats and form are pretty bad. Is Spina, if Spina will be gone for a few weeks, we'll be lucky to see him back for Europe. Zalewski still got a nice screamer from the side in practice. Yeah. Practice doesn't count though. Jose messed up with his development by trying to turn him into a fullback. I agree. Same with Florenzi. Zalewski's career is the reflection of Florenzi's career. He was so good as a winger. Why did we ever transform Florenzi into a fullback? It never made sense, and the second it happened, it led to his downfall. Belotti's numbers are better. True, he played poorly against Verona, but I still think he's better than IKONE and has sacrificed for the team. Plus, he's a proven Serie A striker. The only win we get out of this deal is if Belotti gets minutes and bags a couple goals and increases his value, then we eventually sell him. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's not that bad thought, actually. I wasn't thinking about that. Either way, I think Belotti needs to leave in the near future. Again, he cares and I like the guy, but at the end of the day, if we want to rebuild the team, we have to clear out these names and just restart from fresh and from scrap. Bring Ola back. Just looked into him. IKONE is a forward, not a winger. He doesn't cross the ball. I'm pretty sure he's a winger, mate. I am pretty sure he's a winger. IKONE ain't a striker, forward. But again, if we play with a 4-3-3, IKONE would play as a perfect winger. And with his characteristics, I'd actually see it work. Problem with IKONE is that he doesn't score and he can't score. If you remove the scoring thingy, IKONE would be great. Because really, let me repeat this, he's never fit and he's never on form. But the few days that he hits on form, he's devastating. Is Smalling coming back? Smalling's aiming to be back for the Feyenoord tie. So hopefully we'll have him back there. Right. Hit the like, subscribe, let me know your opinions, even if you're watching this non-live and when it's posted on IKONE and Bakker. And talk to you soon. Enjoy your evening and enjoy your dinner. Simo out.